Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the TA Job Market Review with me, Robert Nunn. And today I'm joined by the delightful Sophie Power. How are you?
Hello, I am good, thank you, Rob. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
Thank you for joining me. Very well, thank you. Very well. So, as always, can you start with just a brief introduction to yourself and your career in TA to date?
Yeah, sure. So Sophie Power, as we've already mentioned, my kind of niche in the TA world tends to be early stage scaling startups. I've worked at quite a few now, as having been a contractor and perm. Started working in recruitment when I was still at uni, believe it or not. Spending my summer holidays at uni working the temps desk at Reed in Newbury. Basically just placing all of my mates.
Yeah.
I was very popular those summers, which is great. And then eventually going into recruitment myself after graduation, and then very quickly sort of shuffled in-house. And these days I'm very focused on sort of scaling recruiting from super early stage. Usually kind of series sort of C to series B. I do a bit of everything really, largely tech, mostly kind of tech, working in sort of tech startups, that kind of fits, but I do ops, commercial roles as well, and sales, marketing, things like that too, customer success, a bit of everything really.
I think it sounds like, yeah. And I know you've had a bit of time away from the market, but you're coming back into it now. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's been interesting. So I was off work and having a bit of a break in terms of effectively sort of finished work in April. Hard stop. So it wasn't entirely planned, as I was not very well, unfortunately, but feeling much better now. Coming back into things, it's been interesting. So the last time I was job hunting was late 2021, when we were having, or we being the market, were having a bit of a boom. It was a fun time to be looking for a job. There were some fantastic roles out there, and it felt like after the pandemic, people were starting to really kind of understand the value that talent acquisition can bring, and really kind of appreciate and value us. And so it's been a little bit frustrating 2 years later to see the polar opposite in the market. So I see a little bit more activity, more people updating that they've got jobs than they are looking for work, but not quite the right balance that I'd like as a job seeker. It's been tough. It's been tough.
No, absolutely. And is there any particular approach that you adopt when looking for work? Any insights that you can share?
Yeah. So this flies in the face of general consensus. And I, do apologize for that, because I'm sure some people will vehemently disagree with me. A lot of people say treat job hunting like a full-time job, and with the best will in the world, that's a great attitude to have. You've got to be proactive. You've got to be kind of enterprising. You've got to be tenacious. All things that, kind of fit that idea. But I think if you do that for 40 hours a week, every week, you will go insane. And for those of us who are unemployed, and I am unemployed, gang, I am not working and have not worked for a while. So I do know the feeling. I would say that I'm also, a grown-up who, has other things going on outside of work. So I've been trying to kind of balance, a little bit of, well, while I am off, let's, sort of do a few other things, a bit of life admin, some creative projects, things like that. And I think it has helped keep me a bit sane, a bit. Anybody who knows me and is watching this knows I'm not entirely sane, but that's fine. That's sort of helped me keep balance, which I think is, we talk about work-life balance, but, job hunting life balance, I think is important as well. So kind of treating it like a very important part-time job. That's probably
I agree with that, actually, because you can get into a bit of a well, you're just scrolling job boards, you're just scrolling the activity, and it does drive you insane. But yeah, I mean, we met and I suppose knew of each other back in the heady days of DBR. And you were very prominent there. You were an admin and what have you. So you understand the importance of networking, community. But how do you apply that for your job search?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So yeah, always been, not always, but certainly for a long time been very actively involved in kind of the talent acquisition community and the space, you know, especially sort of when I was living in London and all of that good stuff. I was never a stranger to the pub, which worked well for DBR, named after a pub, for those who weren't aware. And I'm now involved in TCC, the talent community, which was founded by Sean and Steve and Yas. One would be surprised to realize the power of saying yes to that random coffee, and you don't really know why. They want to meet and have a chat with you, but you're just going to go with an open mind and just be like, if nothing else, it's a nice half an hour, isn't it? And I've always been a big believer in, yeah, sure, let's go for a coffee, or cool, that's great. Within reason. If I'm 99% sure you're just going to sell me something, I'll probably say no. Because I work for tiny startups, gang. I don't have a budget. Yeah, I've always been a big fan, and you know, there've been times in my career where I, you know, have been looking for work and gone, because I've not planned it very well, and then I've had a message from somebody that I met at a networking event, you know, 6 months ago, going, "Hey, I need a TA person. Did I hear you say you're looking for work at the moment?" I'm like, yes. That's happened several times. So the power of communities and networking, and I'm always banging the community drum in anything I talk about online. Really helps. I think it's good for your mental health as well. It's good for kind of just feeling less isolated when you are sat scrolling, looking at LinkedIn, seeing 500 people have applied for a talent acquisition manager job that was posted an hour ago. And even though intellectually, as a recruiter, you know that that's not going to be 500 golden applications, it's still, you know, gets in,
isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's really important.
So has there been any positive experiences? Ultimately, it's been a negative outcome, but have you been part of any recruitment processes that you've had a positive experience about, or, you know, you may think that that's a good idea for next time, or any examples that you want to share?
Yeah, so if you're hiring for a talent acquisition person, recruiter, however you want to slice it, you're probably already a bit short-staffed in your talent team. So, you know, sometimes, you know, it is difficult. A joke I often like to make is that doctors make the worst patients and recruiters make the worst candidates. And that is because, much like doctors, we got strong opinions about how it should be done.
Yeah.
I like to think I don't know it all, but I'm sure we've all got those perfectionist kind of tendencies sometimes. Everyone in any field, but yeah, I've definitely had a couple of processes where I've been really impressed with, particularly the quality of the feedback. Actually, probably shouldn't name names. Actually, so I was about to go, this company did it really well.
Tag them in the post when it comes up on LinkedIn if you.
There we go. Okay, well, Octopus Ventures, I interviewed there to be a talent partner within their company. So working for different kind of folks in their group, and at the time, that type of role wasn't as common as it is now. I think most kind of venture firms, most funds do have somebody like that now, which is such a good idea. I think it's a brilliant idea. I interviewed with them. I wasn't successful. I probably wasn't quite ready for that kind of role at the time. I didn't quite have my head around the strategic side of things. I was nearly there, but not quite. And that, I mean, essentially that was kind of the feedback, really. But I would say Laura, who I interviewed with, did a really good job of kind of breaking down, like, if, you know, you did this bit really well, you know, for next time you need to work on this, and just in terms of like polish and presentation, like try this and this next time. And that's really useful feedback, not just for my next interview, which I then went and nailed and got the job.
Yeah.
But and this was way back when.
In the words.
But you know, also it's just helpful for like your working life generally, because there's always, you know, sort of things you can relate back when you do then get a job and want to take it forward, you know. So that was one process I was really impressed with, actually, because, you know, it was also, it, you know, it did feel challenging. I did feel kind of pushed and challenged in a good way. You know, it was very relevant to the job, for sure. So it also had kind of helped me realise and accept as well that probably not quite ready for a big job just yet. But that was 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019. So been a couple of years, but yeah, that was one particular process that springs to mind that I was super impressed with. And I think that feedback piece is really important, because when you are really busy, taking the time to go through like that quality feedback can be, it is difficult when you are super time poor.
But thanks for joining me, Sophie, and all the best with your onward search.
Thank you so much. Thank you.